Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today I have week 41 in my 2018 Project Life album. You can see I already have my pictures here, and I do have one little bit of ephemera, although I'm not sure if I'll end up including it or not. And I'm going to be using, I think, mostly the October kit from Citrus Twist Kits. This is the Pocket Life kit. I have quite a bit of it left, so I'm going to try and use some of that up, and I guess that's about it. I'm going to put you on fast forward and get started.
So as always, I'm going to start by laying out my photos where I think I might want to keep them. And I'm looking at the backs because I write the date on the back of each photo, and I want to make sure that they're in somewhat chronological order. I don't stick to that always, but I like to start out that way and then move them around if I need to. So now I'm going to go through the 3x4 cards that came in this kit, and I've already kind of decided on a color scheme. So I really love that bottom left card. It has a little picture of a house and it says "Let's stay home," which was perfect for this weekend actually, and for the week in general. So I'm kind of sticking with those colors. It's kind of a corally, peachy pink, and kind of a maroon and red. So I'm trying to stay in those colors. And I laid down that 4x6 card at the top, but that's not going to stay there. I thought I might use it and bring in some of that mustardy yellow, but then I saw this wood grain and I knew that would be perfect to add to this spread. And then that kind of alphabet print finishes off the spots in this week's layout, and stays within that kind of gray and pink and reddish color scheme. So now I'm going to start going through the embellishments, and I still haven't used those phrase stickers with the gold text on them, and I really want to use them this week. So I'm keeping that in mind and thinking of that when I'm picking out the other embellishments. So I'm going to go through the printables, the cut apart sheet, and I'm just looking for anything in that color scheme, basically pulling out anything that's gray or reddish maroon or pink, anything that goes along with what I have out. And then also some black pieces, because there's lots of black in my photos and I want to make sure that I add some black to the spread as well. So now I'm just going to go through the die cut ephemera pack and do the same thing, and just look for anything that matches and might work for the spread. I'm also determined to use that little label at the bottom that's kind of scalloped. I've had it on multiple spreads this month and have never managed to actually to get it used. So I am absolutely determined to get that on this spread. And you'll see I move it around in several places before actually deciding where to put it. So I'm going to trim down the papers. These are 6x8 papers that came in the kit, so I need to trim them down to 3x4 to use them in my pockets. I'm going to do that for both of them, and I'm not really sure. As usual, I'm not really sure where to go, so you'll see me flounder a bit as we move forward. There are some things I know, like I really love that little October die cut on that wood grain. I think that's beautiful, so I know I want to keep that there. And then I moved the everyday die cut that was a similar style down to the bottom because I didn't want it right next to the other one. I definitely want to use it on the spread because it has that repetition, but I didn't want to keep it right next to the other one. So just moving things around, getting a good balance, and trying to make things work with the photos that I have. And I have to apologize for my voice. My allergies have been wreaking havoc on my life this week. So my voice is a little bit scratchy and I'm definitely a bit stopped up. So if I sound a little strange, that's why, and I'm sorry. Hopefully it goes away soon. So still just kind of fussing with everything, trying to figure out where I might want to put things, and I like what I have so far. I do need another label. That top photo of the dogs outside our back door, I put a little die cut. I actually think that's from the cut apart sheet on that photo, and I wanted to add a little label so that I could write a little bit of a story about what the picture is or what it's about. So I grabbed the label sheet that comes in the kit and just cut one of them out that's kind of a black and white print. It's like a kind of like a grid print, and I just used my Crop-A-Dile to cut the rounded corners off, and I'm going to end up keeping that there. So yeah, just floundering a little bit, remembered about these phrase stickers, so brought those back out, but didn't use them, and you'll see in the end they don't end up making it on the spread, which I'm not sure how that even happened, but they don't. I don't end up using any of them. So yeah, I'm looking for an alpha to add to my title card. The alpha that came in the kit is blue, and I definitely don't want to use that, so I'm just going to go through my stash and see what I have. And I found this this tile alpha from Glitz Designs that's super old. And it matches the colors perfectly, so I thought I might use it. And then I also had a wood grain mini market from October Afternoon, also very old. But I really wanted to add some more gold, thinking I'm going to pull in those phrase stickers. So I went through my gold thickers, and I was holding it up to the phrase stickers because there's different tones of gold. So I was making sure I picked one that went well with the gold in those phrase stickers, because I really was thinking I was definitely going to use them. So I picked these, and they're fairly old, although you can see I haven't used a lot of them. And I don't remember what collection they're from. Yeah, I don't remember at all, but they're foam, but unlike other gold foam thickers, the gold wraps around the entire letter, so you can't see the foam underneath, so there's like solid gold looking, but they're just foam thickers. So here I am trying to get that other label on the card, but it just doesn't work well with the shape of this October die cut, and I know that I really want to use that. So I'm going to just stick with that and add week below that, and then I struggle to find a way to add the numbers. So then I think maybe I can add the label below it, but it just competes with the shape of that October die cut. So as much as I try, I can't get it to work. I think maybe I can use the numbers from this Glitz alphabet, but they are too small. The scale is off. So then I try this tile alpha from A Beautiful Mess, which is just slightly bigger, and it was on my desk from the last spread that I did. And so I try and get that on there, and I think that's probably what I'll use, but it needs something behind it. So I try the other die cut that I have out, but then I end up grabbing this label, and I'm just going to keep trying things. So I try the alphas or the numbers on the label. I try moving the label over and adding the gold numbers, but they're way too big. I can tell immediately as soon as I have them down that that's not going to work. That's just way too much. So I end up just kind of setting it there and coming back to it later, because I just couldn't get anything to work. Nothing looked right to me. So I'm going to move on, and I'm going to add, since I took away that label for the title card, I'm going to add the other die cut label that I had to this center card, which is going to end up just being a filler card. And I thought maybe I would just stamp in that white space, but I end up putting those other two die cuts back on and just having a little kind of layered filler card in the center. And I like the way it ends up looking. It's going to look pretty much like that in the end. Okay, so moving on, I'm gonna work on this this card with my Starbucks ephemera on it. It was Jesse had actually brought me Starbucks, which hardly ever happens. He hates coffee, but he was going there for a different reason, and I asked him to bring some back for me, and he actually did, which was super sweet of him. So that was why I wanted to include it, to be able to tell that story. And of course I ran out of adhesive, but good news, I think this is the last refill I have of this crappy adhesive. So I won't have to fight with it much longer. So yeah, I had to switch that out, and then I just adhered this, the coffee sleeve to this card, and I'm adding a bit from the cut apart sheet that says, "You are so good to me," which I thought was very appropriate here. And finally, I'm getting this label on a card. So I'm going to add it just below the ephemera to the bottom of this card. And then I'm going to do just a couple lines of journaling there. And I wrote, oh, actually, it wasn't even coffee. He brought me a chai tea latte from Starbucks. So he did bring it to me, but it wasn't coffee. It was chai tea latte. Still very sweet of him, and very unusual. Not that he isn't willing to bring me things, but when it has to do with coffee or Starbucks, he is usually loath to go in the place because of the smell. So moving on to this other card, I tried to adhere it down and it stuck down before I got it in the place I wanted it. So I had to move that circle die cut down, which is gonna prove difficult to add the journaling now, since I didn't leave myself much space. But there was no pulling that label up once it stuck down, so I just have to deal with it the way that it is. And I apologize again for the light. This was at the end of the day and the sun was setting and the light started coming in through the windows in our front porch / craft room. So I will go fix it in just a second. I will draw the blinds and that glare will go away. So just hang tight. I'm about to go change it and it will get much better. So I did end up fitting my journaling on that label and I had to squeeze it in a little bit. And now I'm moving on to this card with a really terrible photo, but it told the story overnight, so I wanted to include it, and I just printed it black and white because in color it was not attractive at all. And I'm adding it to this card, this really gorgeous 3x4 card with a kind of foliage print and a watercolor kind of treatment. And I'm adding this little die cut to the top. And it was like a label, but I've done this before. I've folded it over and used it like a tab at the top. And I really like the way that looks. And I didn't really need the label part of it. So it adds a bit more dimension and a bit more texture to the spread. So that's what I chose to do with that. And then I'm going to add just a few lines of journaling to the bottom of this card. And I write it off to one side so that I'm not covering up that printed leaf print on this card, because I wanted to be able to see that, just because I think it's super pretty. So now I'm going to move on to this bottom photo, which is a picture of s'mores that we made with our bonfire, and I'm adding it to a card. I think it said Mom's Life or Kid's Life, but I won't ever use that. So I just wanted the color of it behind my photo, and I'm gonna layer this wood grain frame over the top of it. And I had considered cutting the photo down and making it fit that frame, because the subject of the photo definitely would have fit inside that frame, but I liked kind of the messy layered look of the photo peeking out behind it, and then the frame just kind of acts as a way to bring your focus to the subject of the photo. But I liked the white behind it, separating it from the red. So I left the photo the size that it was, and just added the frame and then a little die cut below it that said close to perfect. So now I'm adding that everyday die cut to this picture of our fire, and a little wood grain heart die cut as well. So that's several places that wood grain shows up, which again, I like repetition on my Project Life spreads, especially in groups of 3. So that makes me very happy. And then I'm adding a label to this picture of our dogs. They were on a hike with Jesse, and he took a picture of them at the top of one of the big staircases, I guess, sets of stairs at the state park. And I'm just adding one of these leaves to the side of it. And if I could have an entire pack of the leaves that came in this die cut pack, I would spend all my money on them. They are so adorable, and I am a sucker for leaf shapes. So I wish I had more. I almost didn't use it because I wanted to hoard it, but I was like, no, you have to use your supplies. So I added it, and I really like the way it looks. And then I just added a couple lines that says, these two on a hike with their daddy, so happy. So now I'm going to finish this filler card in the center, and I'm basically just adhering it exactly like I had it laid out on the card, and just gluing it all down, and then I will add a couple staples to the top just to give it a little bit more texture. And since I've added staples to 3 of the cards now, I decided to go back and add staples to basically all of the rest of them, or 4, I guess I had 4. So yeah, just gonna add some staples everywhere, and that's those are gold staples in my gold stapler. And still thinking about this title card. I think at this point I'm like, I just have to get something down. I just have to get it done. So I'm gonna adhere that label in the center below the word week, and just add those Beautiful Mess tile alphas to the center, and then just stamp the dates down and call it good. So it's not great, it's not super creative, and it's definitely not perfect, but it's done, which is all I wanted. I was tired of thinking about it and trying to come up with a different way of getting numbers on there. So it's fine, it works. I'm happy with it. So just grabbing the other embellishments now to see if there's any last little bits that I want to add to the spread. And I do end up adding, there are 2 little gray puffy stickers on this sheet, and since I had a lot of gray on this spread, I thought I would just include those and get them used up, and they did actually work pretty well with a couple of my cards. So I add this one that says feeling grateful, and then the one to the Starbucks ephemera that says so unexpected. And it bothered me a little bit that I had them both stacked up and that I didn't have a third one, but it is what it is, and it's fine, and I like the way that it looks. So yeah, not going to stress about it. And then again, I bring these spray stickers over, but at this point I'm thinking the spread already looks a little bit busy and I don't really want to add more. So I'm just going to go and do my journaling. So I took that bottom journaling card to my typewriter and typed up my journaling, and it cut off at the end because I couldn't get my typewriter to pull the card through anymore. So it kind of just ends abruptly, but I'm gonna leave it because, oh well, it is what it is. So here's the finished spread. There are a few more close-up photos coming up. Thank you so much for watching today, and I will be back here soon with more videos, and until then, have an excellent day.